Hey there, it's Raymond here, and you're welcome to my channel. Every week, I share insightful and strategic content that helps you to navigate your life bend in the areas of your lifestyle, personal growth, travels, global opportunities, study abroad, and also business hacks and tips that helps you to stay ahead of your competition in your field. And if these are areas that you find very interesting, I'd like to encourage you to click on the subscribe button and also don't forget to turn on the notification icon so that you'll be one of the first persons to see my video every time I share a new video. And so today we're going to go the story way. We're going to share something that is really very, very relatable, something that you really be interested in. We'll be talking about things that you need to know before going to study abroad, before you embark on your study abroad journey. There are really things that you need to know as a person that will help you to settle in very fast and not struggle if you don't have the initial information that will help you. And so today I'm going to share from my very personal experience and how it can help you, and also from the things I've learned from my friends who are studying in different parts of the world, in Europe and all that. Perhaps it will help you to also find a way to navigate your journey. Are you ready for this? Let's get started. So yeah, my name is Raymond, and you guys know that I'm here in Cyprus where I am studying. I've been here living here for the past 3 years, and when I was coming here, I was privileged to have people who shared a lot of information, who gave me a lot of cues as to how to prepare myself, and really it helped me to settle in. It helped me not to struggle as a first timer. It helped me to find ways to adapt to the culture and everything. I'm going to talk about them way down on this video, and I've written some of them down so that I don't get to forget them, because I really want to touch quite a lot of them. But let me talk about, first of all, why is it important that you have a clear understanding before embarking on your study abroad journey. Listen, it's very important because you are going to a completely different environment, completely different culture, people. Everything is completely different from what you have always known in your immediate community, in your family, and your local community. And so it's important that you are aware so that you are not taken by surprises. I had my own culture shock, and I'm going to share about some of the culture shock that I had when I first moved here in 2021. And so I wasn't expecting those things, and I wasn't used to culture shock until then. I'm going to share about them. So it's important that you have a deep understanding as to where you are going. I see a lot of people who just want to, I want to go study abroad. But it's not really about going to study abroad as much as it is about your deep understanding as to why you want to go and study abroad, the place where you want to go and study, the courses where you want to, or the course that you want to study, and how it affects your general life dream or life goal or your general vision for yourself and for your future, right? So it's important that you have those ideas. The time I was going to leave, I was very clear that one of the major reasons why I was leaving, for context, for some of you who didn't know, it took me a lot of time, over 10 years. It took me 14 years to go into the university. And so my experience might be completely very, very different from yours. But I think that there are some principles and some lessons from my journey that will help you to navigate your own life and not to reinvent the wheel in your own case. So for me, it took me a long time to go to the university, and so I felt like the only way I want to be able to compensate myself was to go study abroad. It wasn't just because I wanted to get certified internationally. One of the major reasons why I wanted to study abroad was I wanted to, expand my network across the world, because by the time I decided to go back to the university, I was already, I already had an organization. I was already traveling around, flying around from country to country, organizing events, attending other people's events. I was really, really, really doing well at my age at the point, but I needed to get back to school. And I felt like the only way I needed to completely shape my perspective, shape my opinion about the world was to go into other people's environments, other culture, very far away from what I've always known, to learn differently and also to build different network. And so that was my own personal experience. So you want to ask yourself, why do you want to go and study abroad? Because your reason for going to study abroad, for some of you, it may be because you want to get international certification so that you can get better job. For some of you, maybe because you just want to use it as a pathway to relocate and build family. For some of you, it may be like myself, you want to be able to get to know more people, gain access to high quality individual who will help you, to shape the path of your dreams. I don't know, but then you've got to know whatever it is that is the major reason why you want to go and study abroad. And I'm going to talk about key considerations before going abroad. These are things that you have to know in your country before going abroad. One of them is choosing the right country and the right institution. Unfortunately, many people just want to travel, you just want anywhere. When they say, oh, where do you want to study? Say, no, I just want to travel anywhere. If like in Nigerian parlance, they will tell you, I want to Japa. And most times when people that want to Japa usually do not have deep plan, deep foundational knowledge as to where they want to go and how they want to be able to navigate, how they want to be able to survive and also thrive in the location where they want to travel to. So there are factors you want to consider when you are trying to select or choose the country and the institution. So you want to look at the language. The language is a very big barrier, particularly if you are not someone that is very fascinated by language. For me, I love languages. I'm fascinated by language. Before I moved here, in Cyprus, I know that the local language here is Turkish. One of the first things I did while I was still back in Nigeria was I started learning the basics of Turkish, and so it helped me to at least ask simple questions as to, and simple things, like you go to the supermarket, you're able to ask them question in their Turkish language. It helps you to settle in very fast. So you want to be able to consider the country where you are going to, what language is predominant there, and is it something that you are willing to learn to be able to help you to go, because language is going to be a very big barrier as to whether you succeed in a particular country or not. You want to also ask yourself about their culture. What are their culture? Is it something that um, you love, you are going to be able to adapt very quickly about? What are the things that, what are their beliefs, what are their beliefs, what are their value system, what are their culture, what are the things that they believe, what are the things they hold so dear to? Are they things that you are able to also adjust yourself very quickly to also adhere to those rules, those regulations that are guiding this place that you want to go to? You want to also look at the cost of living. Now, most people, you want to travel, you're not able to articulate the cost of living in that place. Now, one of the first culture shock I had, again, it's not because I came here, but I've seen it in other countries, which is not what you see in Nigeria, is paying of monthly rent, right? You get to pay your rents monthly. I wasn't used to that. In Nigeria, you just articulate your money, you pay it for 1 year, and you can afford to sleep all the way you can. But here, you cannot afford. Every 30 days, you have to be on your toes to be able to pay your rent. And so you want to ask yourself where you are living, the school where you're studying, what will you be doing, and how do you intend to foot your bill? The cost of living, your feeding, your transportation cost to your school, or wherever you are living or wherever you are working. You have to be able to be very clear about these things, because at the end of the day, these factors might now shape your decision to live either in a particular country or in even a particular city in that country. I see some people that, let's say for instance, you want to go to the UK, for instance, and you don't have clear-cut plan. You just hear everybody's going to London, and you don't know that living in London is super expensive, and you just get into London after 2 months or 3 months rent that you paid. You're stranded because you are not well informed as to the cost of living in that particular city. And then the other thing you want to check is, what are the career opportunities that are in the place where you want to move to? How do you transition from your studies? Are there career opportunities? What are the economic viabilities of getting a job, and so that you're able to also fund your studies where you are staying, fund your lifestyle and all that. And for you to do this, you also have to be able to research, do a lot of research. Most people want to rely on, yeah, there's a point where you want to rely on agents, but you yourself should be able to do a research. Use Google and figure out universities and programs that will be able to, that you can you can easily adapt to, that aligns to the goal and the vision that you have for yourself. Another thing that most people don't get to really check is the accreditation. Unfortunately, most schools around the world and do not have certain level of accreditation, and so people go to these schools, study for so many years, and when they come out, they find it very difficult to transition into other fields or into other countries, just because the school where they are coming from, or the program that they did in that school, do not have the necessary requirements or the necessary accreditation from the relevant bodies in those places. So you want to be able to choose the right country, and you want to look at these factors that I just mentioned. The next thing that you want to look at is understanding the financial commitment of going to these places, because the tuitions are very different. For instance, here in Cyprus where I am, it's a place where there are different schools here on the island, and then these different schools also charge their tuition in different currencies. So you have schools that are charging their tuition in dollars, others in pounds, others in euros. And so you've got to be able to understand the financial commitment of whichever country that you're going, and the cost of living and everything. Are there scholarships that you can get? Sometimes if you're able to pay your way into the first year and you're able to do well, you can begin to apply for scholarships in some of these countries. And I have something to say about that. No, when I wanted to get back to the university, I remember that I was having a conversation with someone, and the person was insisting that we should wait until we get a fully funded scholarship. And I was telling the person that I really need to get back to school as soon as I can. And while we were waiting for scholarship, I decided that, you know what, I don't want to wait for scholarship anymore. Let me quickly look out for school that is at least affordable for me to pay, so that I can actually, get back to school. And so I eventually figured out, got back to school, and I've been studying. And this, my friends, unfortunately, is still, as at today, 3 years later, I'm still waiting for fully funded scholarship, and I'm on my third year already. So sometimes you got to be able to find a school that is affordable, find a way to source the money, pay for the school, get a 50% scholarship, or even the one you can pay. When you're not getting, get serious with your studies. Make sure that you have like high CGPA or something, and then apply to the school to give you some form of concession or scholarship. This will really, really help you, other than just waiting till when you get 100% tuition. That's my own advice as to how you want to go. Again, it depends on how hungry you are, how desirous you are about really getting back to school. So you want to look at, of course, cost of living, housing, food, transport. I already mentioned about some of these things. Budgeting tips and possible part-time job opportunities are the things you also want to look out for in the country where you are going. I've had people ask me several questions as to whether they should come to North Cyprus or not. I'm going to do a separate video as to what I think, what my experience in North Cyprus has been in the last 3 years, and also because I've been privileged to work as a student assistant in my school, where I had the opportunity to deal with a lot of international students. I've seen their problems. I'm also able to help them to navigate some of these things. It will help me to now do a more well detailed video as to what I think, whether I think you should move to North Cyprus or not. I'm going to do a video. Look out for that, and then you will get that video. So the next thing is application process and documentation in the school where you want to go to. So you want to ask yourself, while preparing, whether you need to write any form of English language exam like IELTS, like TOEFL, like GRE. Are there required documentation like your transcript? Do you have them ready? Do you need recommendation letter? And I really encourage that, you don't even wait for these schools to ask some of these things. I remember that I had an experience somewhere where I was going to, and I got into a particular phase where they were asking me a question. They asked me just one question about a particular thing, and I figured out that if I'm not able to give them a very satisfactory answer, it's going to really, really backfire on me. I'm going to get a very, very negative response from them. And so what I quickly did was, while I was giving them that response, I was pulling out some other recommendation letters that they didn't even ask me, just to back up what I've already said. Sometimes I even show them pictures just to be able to reinforce everything that I've said to them, and it helped me. So you have to write a statement of purpose and then get these things. So figure out what the visa application processes are like. If the country if it's a place that requires that you must use a visa to go to. Now, let me tell you guys something. The fact that you got an admission in a university, in a school, does not automatically mean that you are free and you can just walk into that particular country. The immigration of a country, or the immigration service of a country, have the final say as to whether you get into that country or not. So don't say because you've gotten an admission in a particular school, you can afford to just misbehave and do anything you like, anyhow you like it. It doesn't work that way. Trust me, you can be sent back right there at the entry border. As you are at the border control, passport control, you can be sent back because of anything. It can be any reason. It can be sent back. So find out the visa application processes and ensure that you adhere strictly to them, and it's going to really help you. Let's talk about culture. Let's talk about adapting to a new culture. Now, when I moved to this place, I moved to this place during shortly before winter started. I moved during the fall semester, and one of the things that happened was that my housemate, by the way, gave me a lot of information. I mean, very, very, very credible information as to how to settle in. And I remember one of those days they told me that it's going to get so cold that I won't even be able to wash my plates. I won't even be able to cook with cold water. And I doubted them. I told them it cannot be that bad. It can't be that bad that I won't be able to wash plates. I won't be able to do domestic chores with cold water. And guys, it eventually happened. I was using hot water essentially to wash plates. I was using hot water to do a lot of things and all that. So you've got to be able to condition your mind to adapt to a new culture, because a lot of cultural differences. I got in here. One of the first culture shock that I saw, I experienced was now not because I'm um, was the part of smoking. So it's in the place where I'm coming from in Nigeria, it's like if you are not smoking, or rather, if you are smoking, you are the abnormal person. So if you walk into a room and every other person is there, they are not smoking, and then you pull up a cigarette and you are not the one smoking, you are seen as the one that is abnormal. But now I find myself in a culture where you walk into a place, everybody is smoking under the sun, and then you are not, you're the one that is not smoking. Automatically you are seen as the abnormal person. So for me, it was like with a very culture shock that I had, that people were smoking heavily under very intense scorching sun. I couldn't understand that. Yeah, so I mean, it was my very first culture shock. Of course, after 3 months they had to come ask me for monthly rent. I was like, monthly rent? How? They had to notify me that this is not Nigeria, you've got to pay your monthly rents monthly. So there is also other thing I also want to talk about in terms of adapting to the new culture. There are also like tips on how to make friends, build like networking community. One of the things you also need to understand when you travel abroad is that so many people that are studying abroad have different goals. They have different dreams that they are pursuing, and so they may be completely different from whatever it is that you are pursuing. And so you have to be very strategic as to the people you give access into your space, the people that you connect with. Otherwise, you just be going dealing with people who you are moving in opposite direction with, and you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste your time studying, following the wrong people. And so if you walk into the place, one of the first thing I did was to find a local community, a local church where at least every weekend I'm able to go there to connect with people, to worship and all that. But you've also find something that works for you. Sometimes it can be, social groups, people who are into community service, volunteering communities. You can actually be part of them. Trust me, in those places you will find very people who are really, really committed to becoming better individual, building themselves, and also contributing to humanity to help you to really sieve out from the crowd people that will help you to grow and become better. Language barriers and how to overcome them. I tell you, one of the first thing I did was to start learning about the basic Turkish terminologies. It really, really helped me to settle in, because in most times, even when you want to go and look for a job, if they are non-English speaking countries, one of the first things that will determine whether you get a job or not is whether you are speaking the language. And you don't need to be an expert. Sometimes they just expect you to understand basic of their languages, as to how to greet the greetings and how to ask basic questions. It will really, really help you to be able to scale. And lastly, I'm going to talk about, of course, academic expectation and opportunities. Now, you are now about to travel abroad. So you want to be able to understand the academic structure, the teaching style, and the grading system. Now, for me, I had a challenge when I moved. Okay, I had an event that I had fixed for a particular time of the year, and I didn't know that the school has like a very regimented calendar that everybody must follow, and it is strictly followed. So I had an external engagement that I fixed for a particular time, and unfortunately it coincided with the week that I was supposed to write an exam. I think I was supposed to write a midterm exam at that point. So for you, you need to be able to know the academic structure. Check out if the school has a calendar on their website or something. It will now help you to also plan yourself. I tell people that maybe some people see that, oh, I get to still travel while I'm studying, and they're like, how are you able to balance that? The simple answer is because there is a calendar that the school is working with, and so I'm able to plan myself around my school calendar. The time I'm in class, the time I'm able to do other personal things, is because I'm following the calendar. I'm in school regularly. I'm always in school when I have to be in school, and whenever I have a gap, whenever there is a break, I also use it to do other personal things. So you have to be able to find out what works for you. The teaching style, of course. One thing that I learned about studying abroad is that the lecturers here are so supportive. They are the professors are so supportive. They really want you to go. There's nothing like witch hunting you and trying not to steal your grade or not to get you to pass or whatever. No, they're really very supportive. They want you to learn. They want you to succeed. And so They are not harsh, of course. Unfortunately, some people can be, but then trust me, if you are committed to being a good student, committed to contributing in your classes and everything, trust me, you are going to be very, very, very fine. Another tip that is going to help you to navigate, of course, academic opportunities is look out for ways to volunteer in your school. So now while you are in your school, look out for, get to the school management, ask them, is there any way you can contribute? Apply to be like a student assistant like I did. And when I applied to be a student assistant, it wasn't really because of the money that we're paying. I wanted to be in an environment that allows me to interact and deal with people, and also support the management, support the school administration, and also to support other students. And trust me, it also came with its own massive opportunities to learn from other people and also to contribute to what other people are going to. So I will end by saying that some countries, of course, gives an opportunity for you to do internship after your graduation, or they give you, like in the UK, you get your post-study work visa and all that. Figure out all these things and have them at your fingertips before you even start embarking your journey on this country. Otherwise, if you get the first phase wrong, trust me, you're going to struggle all through your stay, or you're going to at least find it very, very hard to find your balance in those places. So those very, very foundational phases are very critical as to whether you're able to you're able to succeed faster, or you're going to struggle before you find a balance as to how to succeed. If you find this video very, very insightful and very vital to your journey, I'd like to encourage you to click on the subscribe button, and do not forget to click on the notification icon so that you will always be one of the first to get my videos. And I promise you, I'm really committed to sharing very valuable, very vital, very knowledgeable content that will help you to navigate your life bend in the areas of your lifestyle, in personal growth, travels, global opportunities, study abroad, and business hacks. Until I come your way again, thank you.